David, over to you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Over the past 5 months, Council has been actively involved in budget discussions. October and November focused on the district's 3 utilities and included an open house on December 7th, prior to Council adopting utility rate increases of 5% for water, 3.5% for sewer, and 3.62% for electric. January and February's focus has been on the general fund. Based on these discussions, the proposed financial plan includes a 1.65% property tax revenue increase. And additionally, monthly curbside garbage and recycling rates are proposed to increase by $2.35 per month, effective March 1st, 2021. The general fund budget was presented to the public at the district's February 10th virtual budget open house. The district has received 24 written submissions from the public in relation to the overall budget, with 22 of the submissions supporting Council's commitment to add additional pickleball courts at Peach Orchard Campground in 2021. Additional comments received included, and this is not an extensive list, however, I'll summarize, a need for year-round public washrooms, concerns that now is not the time to be increasing property taxes or utility rates, as the world is still in the midst of a pandemic and there are still people struggling financially. There's concerns from 2 members of the public regarding the $1.68 million capital spend for phases 3 and 4 of the Giants Head Trail upgrades project, of which the district's portion would be $448,800. And concern about the lack of the overall public attendance at the budget open house. And not just the open house, but council meetings in general. The overall impact of this financial plan to a residential home assessed at $591,790 is $153 annually, or $12.83 monthly. This increase is broken down as follows. Property taxes, a $22 increase. Curbside garbage and recycling, $23. Water, $40. Sewer, $14. And electrical, $54. It should be noted that these increases are the gross amounts, and if residents are diligent and pay their monthly utility bills on time, they will receive the 10% discount, which will lower the annual increase from the $153 mentioned earlier down to $140. With the public engagement component now complete, the district's 2021 to 2025 financial plan bylaw is now ready to be considered by council for first 3 readings. That concludes my report, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Svetlichny. Questions, council, for Dave? All right, could I have someone bring forward the 2 resolutions that are there? Councillor Holmes?
Yeah, I'm happy to bring forward the resolutions. I have a comment though, if I may. So in the open house, there was a one of the participants in the open house commented that they would like to see comparisons with other communities in the Okanagan to get an idea where we're at, and that's something I've always wondered myself, as a matter of fact. So and I understand it's kind of it's a little difficult comparing like for like in communities, but I took the liberty to compare my house with my mother's house, who lives in Penticton. We both have pretty average single detached houses. The taxable value of my house, according to BC assessment, is $550,000. That's land and buildings. And my tax bill last year, with the homeowner's grant, was $2,583. My mother's house in Penticton, it's valued at $530,000, and her tax bill with the homeowner's grant was $2,629. So My house is valued a little bit more than hers, and her taxes are a little bit more than mine. So I thought that was kind of, but not much of a difference either way. So I thought that was kind of a pretty interesting comparison. I just wanted to put that out to everybody to see that there's not a whole lot of difference between us and Penticton. And with that, I'm happy to bring forward the motion, if I can find it. The financial plan 2021 to 2025, bylaw number 2021-001 be read a first, second, and third time, and that a special meeting be scheduled for 4 p.m. on February 26th to consider adoption of the financial plan bylaw number 2021-001.
Thank you, Councillor Holmes. Seconder? Councillor Trainer? Before I ask for the question, is everyone, or do we have enough people to form a quorum that can attend this Friday's meeting at 4 o'clock? Okay, thank you, Councillor Holmes. I see 2 people nodding. That's 3. I'm available for, okay, so we're good. Okay, so any further, oh.
Excuse me, Madam Mayor, will it be then on our calendar for a Zoom meeting?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion about the motions on the floor? Councillor Trainer.
I just have a quick question for Laurie Mullen, if she's there, with regards to Giant's Head Trail improvements. Laurie, would you be able to remind us, did we get grants for phases 3 and 4 yet? Like, I think we submitted for those.
Thank you, Councillor Trainer, through Madam Mayor. We've applied, but we have not received notice, and we're expecting, Dave might know more specifically, but I was thinking end of February, beginning of March, we would be getting notification on that. And at this point, we're not looking to proceed with that project for this year, unless we get that grant money.
Okay, that was my next question. Thank you very much.
Pardon me. That's what Councillor Holmes was trying to tell me. I will call the question. All in favor? Great, thank you. And none opposed, I don't see. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dave. On to 7.6, fees and charges amendment for the solid waste bylaw. And Chris, oh, there you are. Please go ahead, Chris.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Karen's just going to help me out and get the PowerPoint thrown up on the screen. All right, thanks, Karen. If you just go to the next slide. So on January 13th at the budget meeting, Council had passed a resolution to look at implementing a few revisions to the fees and charges for solid waste. So noted here, so implementing a $65 per ton tipping fee for white wood, implementing a $25 per ton tipping fee for green waste, and increasing the monthly base cart fee by $2.35 per month. Also during those discussions, there was a desire to look at a 5% tipping fee increase for general refuse and mixed demo that was included in the revenue calculations that were discussed during the budget meeting. So next slide, what this means for the bylaw itself, just broken it down into a few items here. Basically the next 6 slides will step through the bylaw amendment that's required. First item will be looking at the 5% tipping increase for the general refuse and mixed demo. Changes to the other wastes, so that's the white wood and the green wood. Looking at the increase to the monthly base cart fee and what the associated costs around that. And then the last 3 slides will look at some other updates that staff is proposing that we consider during this bylaw amendment. So as far as the 5% increase for refuse and demo, The top two lines here are those items specifically. So increasing the refuse from $110 per metric ton to $115.50, and increasing the mixed demo from $200 to $210 per metric ton. The bottom two rows look at other materials that are similar to general refuse that also had a similar $110 per metric ton rate previously. So that's with the recyclable materials that were unsorted and the fiberglass. So staff is proposing that those two items see a similar increase to $115.50 per metric ton. So the next slide looks at the other wastes. So the top item there, the white wood. So this is proposing a $65 per metric ton fee for that. Also includes deleting the no charge up to 500 kilograms that's currently in the bylaw for this material. Next two items are the green waste items. So there are two items that are identified in the bylaw that are referred to as green waste. So that's the green wood waste and the separated yard and garden waste. So the proposed fee for both of those is $25 per metric ton, and then also deleting the no charge up to 500 kilogram piece that's currently in the bylaw for those items. The bottom three items on this slide, the fourth row looks at corrugated cardboard from ICI properties. So that's industrial, commercial, and institutional. Recycle BC program is only for residential properties, and therefore ICI recyclable materials are not allowed to be collected or mixed within the residential materials. So we have a separate area for the corrugated cardboard from the ICI properties at the landfill. In 2020, we've seen costs of just over $5,300 to deal with this waste, but currently collect no fees or no charges associated to that. So staff is proposing that we implement a $25 per metric ton charge for the ICI corrugated cardboard. The fifth item or fifth row on this is the propane tanks. Again, currently there's no charge in the bylaw for these materials. The district pays $1 for each of the 1 pound propane cylinders, which are the little green camping propane tanks. And we have varying charges for the other size tanks. Some have no charge and some have significantly higher charges. So staff is proposing to implement a $1 charge per unit for propane tanks. This would also allow staff to then be able to visually inspect these materials that come in, because they would have to identify how many they were. We would have to visually see them and charge for them. Whereas now they would just say they had these tanks and we would just direct them to the area where they would go drop these off. And the last item on here for sludge and screenings from the wastewater treatment plant and lift stations, this is just a correction in the bylaw from $25 to $35 per metric ton. Currently, we've been charging $35 per metric ton internally, but the bylaw didn't note that accurately. So we're just looking to have that correction made. Next slide for the monthly curbside collection. So the top row is the $2.35 per month increase to the monthly base cart program. The second item was also discussed with the multifamily, so increasing that by 5% from $5 to $5.28, which gives the 5% increase after the 10% discount is applied. So that was again as discussed during that the budget meeting. And then the bottom two items, because we're looking at a 5% increase in general refuse, staff felt it was warranted to bring forward a 5% increase to the additional charges for the larger carts for garbage. So the 240 liter carts and the 360 liter carts. Currently those see $9.58 a month or $19.17 per month. So looking to increase each of those rates by 5%. So bringing those to $10.06 and $20.13 per month. Okay, and the next three slides, we'll just look at some of the other items that staff is proposing just to clean up the bylaw. All of these items here are broken out in sections 1.3 and 1.4 in the fees and charges bylaw. And a lot of them just have, most of them have no charge. They also then have a definition just about that they must be clean, that they must be residential only, etc. So we're just looking to clean up the language that's associated with each of these items, and have broken out a few new items that weren't explicitly separated as separate items within these two sections of the fees and charges bylaw. The waste from district projects. So just looking at the current process and the proposed process, currently contractors that are bringing waste from district projects are not charged tipping fees at the scale. Those charges were then tracked internally and allocated from the appropriate GL or appropriate department to the landfill. It was fairly heavy on the administrative and tracking side, and potentially by allowing that waste in at no charge, there may be contractors or waste that come in that isn't district waste, but is either assumed or is being told that it is, and it would be entered and deposited at no charge in circumstances where it should be charged. So the new process that we're looking to implement, which is the verbiage within the bylaw, would be changed to show this, is that contractors would be charged tipping fees. The waste disposal would be included or incorporated into the contracts, and the project fees for that the contractor would pay at the scale and then be reimbursed through the project cost through the contract. It would definitely reduce the administrative time internally behind the scenes to allocate those costs appropriately, and would also mitigate the possibility of any non-district waste being disposed of at no charge. And the last item was just looking at out of service area users. So currently the district, with our operating certificate, we are able to accept waste from surrounding areas, but currently we have not been allowing them, or if they would be, it notes an incrementally increasing charge for the first time, second time, third time that they come in, and that the fourth time they would be turned around and not allowed to discharge their waste. So staff is just looking to simplify this process to allow these out of service users to deposit their waste at our landfill, but they would be charged at 2 times the highest rate of any material that's within that load, or a minimum charge of $20, whichever is greater. So that would more than cover the costs of dealing with that waste material and any handling of that on site. So with that is just a quick overview of the amendments that are proposed. The attached amendment bylaw is noted in the report. If there's any detailed questions, myself and Candace Pilling, our Manager of Environmental Services, are here to answer.
Thank you, Chris. Councillor Patton.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Chris, with the additional 48 cents for the 240-liter carts and the 360 for curbside for waste, do we pay the contractor more money for dumping those?
No, I don't believe we do. However, there is an estimated waste component to the curbside collection fee, and so because there's larger volumes that are available in there, that's where we would be looking to increase those fees.
Okay, I'm having a hard time swallowing that, since we're already going to be raising it $2.35, and now at the last minute after budget is done, it's like, oh, and by the way, we're going to do this. So I'm really having a hard time with it's only 50 cents, which is only what, $6 a month for the garbage. But a late item like this, when we talked about the cart costs at $2, it was $4. We brought it down. So I guess it's more of a comment than a question, but I'm not in agreement with your last 2 items for the carts. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and Councillor Patton, if I may, you're right. We did discuss the $2.35 for the monthly base cart fee. When we were looking at the other items, such as the 5% on the general refuse, we were looking at all items where that would affect the rates. And so in addition to the fiberglass and the unsorted recyclable materials, we also identified that these additional charges for the larger carts also have a waste component, which is why we're proposing that, but fair comment and duly noted.
And if I might say, Councillor Patton, this is the time to bring it up because we're talking about the fees and charges. So thank you for doing that. Councillor Van Elfen.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Question through Chris. I wasn't thrilled at budget when we, talked about charging for white wood and green wood. And some comment even from our fire chief, there was concerns. He expressed concerns. My concerns is the illegal dumping and illegal burning. Will we be able to, or could we possibly this year through bylaw, possibly through the public, to try to, get whatever information and input. And if we see illegal dumping and illegal burning, can we note that and then maybe have further discussions in the future if that seems to be happening? That's my concern with the white wood, green wood component. Thank you.
Chris, did you want to speak to that, or Graham? Candace? Okay.
think,
Oh, great.
Thank you,
Please go
Madam
ahead.
Mayor, through to Councillor Van Alphen. We'll definitely monitor the implementation of these changes to make sure we don't have any unforeseen situations as you're describing. So certainly we'll take sort of a continuous improvement approach to this and report back to council if anything like that is reported. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Van Elfen. Councillor Holmes and then Councillor Trainer.
Oh, he's unmuted. Thanks. So just a question regarding the loony for the propane tanks. I'm just wondering if that revenue will cover the extra administration and of collecting that money for those tanks. And if there is any concern at all about then people might just throw those tanks, especially the little green camping ones, into their garbage. And how do we, to avoid that, having to the hassle more than the dollar, I imagine it is. How do we ensure that people don't do that?
I guess, Candace, maybe you can speak to the administrative side, but I don't think there are any additional administrative costs or that would be associated with that. But
yes, thank you, through Madam Mayor. No, there wouldn't be any additional administration costs for us. It's more to cover off the cost of the program itself. Last year we had an additional, we spent just over $5,000 on our propane tanks, and that's a lot of it was the green propane tanks. Our last invoice was, I believe, $2,300 around there for just green tanks alone. We would be moving forward with an education program about not putting it in your garbage, the hazards of it. We would be rolling that out as part of this new bylaw, but it is something that we've been really trying to figure out how's the best way to make sure that operationally we know what is coming in. And then once again, that, we're trying to balance our budget. And so this is one of those items that we get charged for that we have not been charging anything for. So at $1, we figured it was a fairly good balance to bring them in and still have that ability to know what's coming in and prevent those tanks that come in that cost us, $500 or $600 at a time to dispose of.
Okay, Councillor Holmes, do you have a follow-up to that?
Yeah, just a quick follow-up. So dealing with people throwing them in the garbage, that's just you're just kind of banking on some sort of education to do that. I'm just wondering if there's ever been any discussion, province-wide or whatever, to have a kind of deposit put on those tanks at point of sale, and that's something we could maybe bring to UBCM. But it seems to me that they're not really any different than pop bottles, those things, and I think that's something, nothing we can do about it, but it'd be something we might want to look into.
Thank you through Madam Mayor. Yes, it is one of the items that has been brought forward as requested for an EPR program, but at this point there isn't one that specifically deals with the propane tanks. So it is one of like the green propane tanks. So it is one that has been requested multiple times. And the hope is that moving forward, it will be one of the ones they move forward with.
Councillor Trainer.
It's funny because Doug took both of my questions, and then I was going to ask about the deposit, and then he asked about that. So I guess my only comment then about the propane tanks left is maybe we could also take note this year of whether we see a decrease in the number of propane tanks being turned in. Because if we do see a decrease, then that may mean that more are going into the garbage. So I would be interested to know if there's any change. But and then also, yeah, I was wondering why there isn't a recycling fee, because for most things you do pay a recycling fee. So it's odd that they don't have one attached to those. So yeah, that's my comment.
Or an environmental fee like with paint cans. Yeah. Good questions. Any other questions? Councillor Van Elfen.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Question through to Candace. Excuse me. I know we've talked about it before, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but scrap metal up to a certain weight that we start to charge for it, and it is a commodity that we can make money on when the rates are favorable. And in the meantime, we can stockpile it and sell it when the rates are higher. Have you considered allowing, no charge for scrap metal to come into the landfill? Is that something that you may be investigating in the future?
Thank you through Madam Mayor. It was actually discussed, but we do have some operational costs that are associated with it. So it's been tabled as one of those items that we're going to consider again in the future. But at this point, considering that we're still working on our budget, we have changes going on at the landfill, we didn't want to get rid of it and then find that, it was one of those items that we turned around and needed to have included. We still do have the free component of it, and we do still quite often run out of space down there before it's collected. Like we do get quite a bit in, so it's not been a huge concern as far as that goes. One of our concerns would be if we had no charge, how often we would have to get them in, if we could get them in time, and just maintaining the area and the space. But our operator does have work that he has to do on quite a regular basis to maintain the pile. So that additional $15 over the free amount, over the 500, does cover off for those operational charges. It is on our list though.
Thank you, Candace. Any other questions? Could I have someone bring forward the 2 staff recommendations, please, or something other than those? Council, thank you, Councillor Holmes.
That, oh no, sorry. That fees and charges amendment bylaw solid waste number 2021-007 be read a first, second, and third time, and that a special meeting be scheduled for 4 p.m. on February 26th to consider adoption of the fees and charges amendment bylaw 2021-007.
Thank you, Councillor Holmes. Councillor Van Elfen, you're seconding. Any further discussion on the bylaw? All right, I'll call the question. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, none opposed, so that carries unanimously. Thank you. I just wanted to say, at least while the staff is still here before we go into the closed meeting, so this is for our CAO, but also all of the staff that have presented today. I'm sure that other council members have noticed this. It is so nice to have the presentation slides as part of our agendas. It really helps a lot because there's a whole bunch of information. We have a few days to go through that information, and that includes perhaps information that we didn't glean from the request for decisions. So thank you so much for that. It's in my opinion, it's a huge improvement. And Councillor Barkle has a thumbs up too. So
Thank you,
for that.
Madam Mayor. I'll pass that along to the staff.
Great, thank you. Okay, so now we are looking for a resolution to close this meeting to the public. Councillor Van Elfen and Councillor Holmes, all in favor? Any opposed?